One.
Hello, everyone. This is Evelyn, owner of Threads of Life, and today we have Arabella.
Yes.
She's 9 years young, and we're going to be making her a outfit today. And the name of our session today is So Amazing. She needs an outfit for Thursday. She's one of my students, and we're going to get busy. So come on in, and let's get Arabella an outfit to wear to school tomorrow. Okay, Arabella, how do you want your tops? Do you want this border at the top? You say you want this at the bottom, correct?
Yes, I want this at the bottom, and then I want this like in the top, and then I want this in I think this was in the middle.
In the middle. Okay. So I'll have a disclaimer. This is how I sew. I sew by eye contact. I'm an artist, and I sew like this because when I came up, there was no money for patterns, and I had to eyeball it to be able to make a living. So I have been all over the world making a living, and I just look at a pattern and I make it. So my students will be learning how to sew without a pattern. So if you have a lean, okay, they're trying to close us up, but anyway, we're here all night. But I want you to know how to sew without a pattern. I'm going to eyeball this. Again, this is how I sew. I train people how to sew like this, and it helps because a lot of times when you're looking for something, there may be something that you like that you can never find. So we're gonna make her a romper. Okay, she wants this in the middle. So here it is. I'm gonna cut this right here. And the way I'm doing this is the knife on the thread allows me to do it without actually having to cut that much. Okay, so this is in the middle. And what we're making is a romper. And I'm going to use my hand like this, and I'm going to cut a neckline. So I'm actually using my hand, and I'm cutting a neckline like this. And then I'm going to cut some shoulders. So I'm going to cut the shoulders down like this. And I'm going to open up one because one side is already open. And I'm getting ready to cut sleeves. All right. And so I'm going to take this, and I'm just going to make it just almost like a doll dress. And as you can see, I'm going to come out like this, and she has a little doll dress. All right?
Wow.
So just like that. Now, as you know, we'll sew, well, maybe you don't know, but we'll sew the wrong sides out, have the wrong sides on the outside, and put the right sides together. So this is already, within a minute, we cut out a top without scissors or anything. And one thing that's great about African fabrics is that you can always make them work. Okay, so that's the top. And now she wants some pants. And she wants the pants to end up with this at the bottom. This is a border fabric. A border fabric means that there's different parts of the fabric that you can cut and manipulate, and they design it with different borders and everything. So I'm actually looking at her size and her height, okay? Again, I'm doing an eyeball situation. I'm gonna make these pants longer than, or taller or longer than she is, because we're gonna put elastic at the bottom of the pants. All right, so I'm gonna cut off this part right here, so we can save this. Nothing goes to waste. You can always use your fabric for something else. Head wraps, we can make her a jacket, a skirt, a dress. We can do so much. So since this is going to be the bottom, I'm gonna start up here. And kids grow really fast. So when I make these pants, I don't want these pants to be too short too soon, okay? So I'm looking at your height, and I'm eyeballing you, and you're just like right here. So I'm eyeballing you, and I'm gonna make these pants. Okay, so again, this is my technique, and after you do it a few times, you can do it yourself, right? This is not what they teach you in fashion school. This is survival school. This is make a way out of no way. When there is no door, God will put a door. Okay, so this is Evelyn's way that I've learned how to sew for. I mean, Patti LaBelle, Whitney Houston. I can keep going on, but those are the people that come to my head right now. Disney and so forth, okay? So I'm gonna make some pants. I'm gonna fold the fabric in half. right here. And again, I'm cutting for shrinkage. I'm also cutting so that she can grow and these pants won't be too short in one school year. All right, so I'm gonna cut them a little long, and because they're gonna have elastic at the bottom, they're gonna be stackable. That means they're gonna have a little play in it. All right, so I'm cutting this, I'm eyeballing this. If you like to use a ruler or a size board, that's fine. But like I said, when you're in survival mode, you make a way out of no way. Sometimes the pattern will cause you to have to buy more fabric and you have a lot of waste, and then sometimes your budget can't afford to buy all of that fabric. So I'm looking at the patterns. I want the pants to be right. I want the pants to have some play, so I'm going to cut this so they'll be the same size. I want my legs to be the same size. Cut that. I'm going to let that fabric fall over there. Now what I'm going to do, turn this around, and I'm going to make her crouch. All right? And I'm going to take this, if you can see me, and I'm going to make this like this. Now what this is, one side is short and one side is longer. That's because you have to allow for the buttocks, and this is for the inside for the crouch. So you have the buttocks a little bit deeper, maybe 1 inch, than the crouch. And by thumb, your inner seam is always 10 inches shorter than your outer seam. We'll get to that, okay? But we're doing this because we got a date. We got to get this ready. Okay, so I'm gonna cut this in a little bit like this. It's kind of like when you're cooking, and some people cook so good they don't measure, they just do what they do. So that's the same with this. Now I want to make sure I cut this in just a little bit here for my 5/8 seam allowance. And so I'm going to take this and just going to do rule of thumb. Okay, and we're good. Now this right here is right there, so I can see. But I can actually cut this about here. Cut it about right here. Almost perfect. About right here. We want to leave a seam allowance at the bottom, and want to be able to put the top to the bottom. So we have a little bit of play that she can go and she can run and play with these pants or with these rompers on. All right. So I'm going to get to the sewing machine, put this together, put her top together. And while I do this, she's going to actually be sewing beside me. She's going to get some sewing time in while I'm making her a garment. Okay, so here's your blouse. I got my scissors, you got your scissors, so let's get going. I'm going to be right here. Now, we're going to talk about the cowrie shells that's in her head. The cowrie shells was once a form of currency. Okay, here's your paperwork. Now with my new students, I always like them to start sewing with paper. And they're going to be sewing with paper, needle, and they're going to learn how to do straight lines. They're going to learn foot control. I teach all of my students, when you first start sewing, when you're at home, what are we going to do? Take our shoe off and feel the paddle. Okay, so when you're home, you usually relax. You don't usually cut up and put your shoes on to sew. So I'm teaching them how I learned how to sew and how to keep going. All right? Okay, Arabella, let's get it going, girlfriend. Okay, you ready over there? Okay. Go ahead and start sewing. Well, let's do the top first. Let's go ahead and get the top. We already got that top. So we're going to do this here. We're going to do 5/8 seams. So we're teaching you how to do patience, how to have some patience, how to sew. sew a straight line. She's sewing without thread. She's sewing strictly to learn how to sew a straight line, circles, squares, how to reverse. So we got all of the stitches on the outside, on the inside done. We're going to turn it inside out. Basically, every garment has a head, has arms, and a bottom. So no matter what you do, you can't reinvent the wheel. The wheel's already there. Okay, so this is the top for Arabella. All right, that's her top. 5 minutes, literally, right? 5 minutes. She has a top. Clean up the top of the blouse. Do a hem, and we hem the sleeves, and she has a top. Getting ready for her big day at school.
Yes.
Big day at school. But these pants right here, again, we're putting the insides together. All right. Front seams together, the shiny side, the side that you're going to be out, they go together. And then we're doing the crotch area. Always do the crotch area first. Okay? So we're going to do that first. Again, 5/8 seam. So front, zigzag, reverse it right at the top. Now for kids, I always like to do a double stitch because they're more active. A double stitch and then a finish stitch. That's a double stitch. Although she'll know how to alter her own clothing if she was to get anything that was insecure or activewear or getting caught on something, she'll have the skill set to be able to repair her own clothing. And the family's clothing too. Okay? All right. Back stitch, stitching right. We're making pants to a romper. Always pull your thread longer so that you don't have to keep rethreading your thread all the time. So always pull it longer. Knife is right there, remember? Now, we got the front of the pants and we got the back of the pants. And we're gonna sew them together. It looks like it's big, but once we crunch it all in, it's gonna be so fun to have that extra fabric on there. Now we're gonna sew the length of the pants down. And if we make these pants and she feel like they're too big, we can always take them in because she's not going out, she's growing up, taller, not wider. So what I like to do is I like to help guide the fabric, pull it on through. I don't suggest my students to start out this fast, but we need this outfit for tonight because you got to go to school Thursday, so look, we got to get it done. Okay. Here we go. This is unfiltered. This is raw. This is coming out of the store, coming down to the fabric store, Threads of Life, and sewing for my student and VIP client. Okay, we got the side seams together. Now we're gonna do the inseams together. And you can already imagine, wow, look at these pants come together. They look long, but they need to be long so we can put elastic at the bottom. crotch area. When you first start sewing, don't be so technical and everything has to be perfect. It's not going to be perfect. You can always go and take it out and redo it. So don't be so perfect. Have fun with it. You want to see the outcome. Okay, we're going to sew this again. This is again, I do secure, very secure stitching when I do youth because they're active and they're going to be laundered a lot. So we want to make sure that we have a real nice active garment. Okay, now we already have the pants ready. Turn this inside out. You see the borders. This is what we're talking about. Because this fabric had borders, and she wanted to have this in the top and the middle. She wanted to have the flowers at the bottom. We're gonna put elastic at the bottom. If she wants pockets, we can put the pockets in. And now, these are the pants. How long was the pants? Maybe 5 minutes? Okay. And here's the top. Another 3 minutes. Now for a romper, we're gonna add this to this, and then we're gonna put elastic in it. And then she has a romper. And we're gonna put elastic in the legs, so when she's wearing her pants, that they won't be too long and they'll fit on top of her shoe. Okay? So we're gonna add the middle together. Actually, I'm gonna show you something else. I'm gonna show you a real quick tip. We're gonna put elastic in the pants leg, okay? Now, some people sew a casing for the elastic, and they go back and they do it with a safety pin. I'm gonna show you a trick to save you a lot of time on how to put elastic in pants, because it's kind of tiring to be trying to do a safety pin. So what I do is I look at my elastic, I find out how wide it should be, the casing should be, and I'm gonna sew my elastic in while I'm sewing the hem in. So that saves me 2 steps: sewing it, threading it, then casing it. So I'm gonna do this at the same time. All right. So we're gonna put the flowers right here. Again, this is Evelyn's way. It's not everybody's way. It's not everyone's favorite way. And our kids are so smart now that we don't have to baby them on every little step. They gonna be advanced before you know it. They know how to use cell phones. They know how to do a lot of stuff. We can't take these kids for granted because they're smarter than some of us on any occasion. Want to know something on a phone? Ask a kid. All right, they starting out with computers where we didn't get them until we were in college, or maybe even after college. We couldn't have them our own. So anyway, I'm sewing the casing in. I don't have to fold the fabric down because it's the raw edge, and I'm sewing the casing in so she'll have elastic in the bottom. So I take baby steps. Make sure when you're sewing the casing in, you don't sew the elastic, so you can pull the elastic. And if you do, you just go back and take the stitches out in that little part. You won't sew it all in, but you might hit it somewhere. All right. So we're right there. Then I'm gonna pull it up. Now you say, how do you do that? Right here, where the elastic is right here, I'm gonna pull the elastic and make sure this side doesn't come out. I'm actually making the bottom of her legs so they can stack. I'm pulling the elastic there. She has little ankles, so I'm pulling it right there. I don't waste a lot of fabric. I don't even use pins hardly. That's a secret too. If you gotta have everything they tell you to have in sewing, you'll be broke before you make your first outfit. So you gotta learn how to improvise and to survive. So I teach my kids how to survive. Even if they have the wealth to buy everything, when you're on the road or you at home or whatever, you need something, you can't go to the store every time you have a problem. So elastic, no pins. I'm gonna sew this down 2 or 3 times. Back and forth. Oops, there we go. And got that right there. And I'm going to cut this. Now, I'm going to tell you what I just did. I just sewed the elastic, and when I sewed the elastic, my needle hit the elastic while it was being stretched. So, my needle is bent. All right, it happens. Take the needle out. I'm going to borrow your needle because we're on a time set. I'm going to borrow Arabella's needle so I can show you. Normally I have lots of needles right here, but we're in a flash class, so I'm going to show you improvising. Now you can still sew and look at the lines without the needle, okay? So we're going to keep it going. One thing about sewing, don't get upset and frustrated when something happens, because if you do, you know, you won't ever come back to it. And we lose a lot of seamsters and designers because they get frustrated about the small stuff. It's all small. It's all small, okay? So you're going to put this needle in here. I want you to keep sewing. Rethread the whole machine. We're going to rethread it. And if this happens too, whenever you have a problem, just start all back over. Like they say, do 1, 2, 3, like Brian McKnight said, and then go back and start over again, and you'll figure it out. And I am putting this needle here and tightening it up. For some reason, it's not letting me do it. What's going on? Okay, I'm gonna have to go get another needle. I'm gonna go to the other shop and get a needle, and I'll be right back. Cut it off. Did you click it?